Hello, good evening. You're watching Awaz News. I'm Kubra Ali. I'll be taking you to top stories across Canada. An organized crime tourism group appears to be behind at least 20 residential break-ins across the Greater Toronto Area, police say. York Regional Police say the officers began an investigation into a series of break-and-enters tied to the group in April. Police say that the suspects entered residences through near basement glass doors and would then target cash, high-end clothing, jewelry, and firearms. 4 individuals connected to an organized crime tourism group were arrested on Wednesday, investigators said in a press conference. 3 of the suspects were arrested after police responded to a break-in call near Clark Avenue and Dufferin Street. The 4th suspect was arrested after search warrants were executed at residences in Toronto and Mississauga, investigators say. Police report finding stolen property, break-in tools, and a radio frequency jammer during the searches. The arrests are part of the Project Towns, a York police investigation to combat break-ins. The investigation remains ongoing and additional charges are anticipated, police say. Peel police are searching for one suspect after a man was fatally stabbed in Mississauga on Tuesday afternoon. Peel Regional Police said they received a call at 12:25 p.m. about an altercation in the area of Hurontario and Iron Streets, north of Dundas Street West. When they arrived, officers found a male victim with life-threatening injuries on the street corner. Sergeant Taylor Halfyard said bystanders provided first aid prior to the arrival of the emergency services. The victim's identity has not been released pending next of kin notification. Halfyard revealed that while the victim was located on the street corner, the altercation occurred in the rear parking lot of the nearby building. As to the circumstances that led to the incident and whether it was random, the sergeant said it's too early in the investigation to determine what exactly transpired. Meanwhile, police have released an image of suspect who is described as black man with medium build, short black hair, and a black goatee. He was last seen wearing a white t-shirt with black zip-style jacket, fluorescent green pants, and yellow Timberland-style boots. He also had a black watch on his wrist. Halfyard said the suspect was last seen around 12:15 p.m., 10 minutes before police were called for incident in the area of Hurontario Street and Dundas Street West. Halfyard said police have command posts in the area and anyone with the information can talk to the officers there. This is obviously concerning, he said. I can say that in my opinion, we have a very good grasp on the investigation so far. Environment Canada has issued a severe thunderstorm yellow watch for Toronto, advising of the possibility of strong winds and large hail this evening. The watch is in effect as conditions are favorable for the development of severe thunderstorms, Environment Canada said. The city could see hail up to quarter-sized and winds gusting 90 to 110 kilometers per hour. Damaging wind gusts will be the main threat with these storms. Environment Canada said local utility outages are possible. Damage to roofs, fences, branches, or soft shelters is possible. Severe parts of Greater Toronto Area are also under a severe thunderstorm watch. Meanwhile, a heat warning remains in effect as Toronto's first heat event of the season persists for another day. As of 4 p.m., Toronto reached a high of 30 Celsius, feeling closer to 36 when factoring in the humidity. The National Weather Agency noted that the temperatures may be cool along the lake shores. The sweltering conditions are expected to stick around until Tuesday night. Much cooler temperatures will arrive on Wednesday, which will see a daytime high of 18 Celsius. Thursday will drop down to a high of just 16 Celsius before temperatures slide even further to 15 Celsius on Friday and 13 Celsius on Saturday. The distraught mother of a 14-year-old girl who went missing from Toronto more than 3 days ago is tearfully appealing for information that will help bring her home safely. Esther, who is affectionately known as ST, was last seen around 11:30 p.m. last Friday at Earl Bales Park near Bathurst Street and Shepherd Avenue West in North York. Police say the teen was heading in a northeasterly direction. Esther is described as white female around 5'2" with a medium build and brown hair. On Tuesday, Toronto police provided an update on the clothing Esther was last seen wearing. In a social media post, they said recent information suggests she wore a long turquoise sleeved sweater with words on the front and gray sweatpants that were loose around the ankles. Police had previously mentioned that she might also be wearing a green long sleeve top. It's not clear at this time if Esther was or wasn't wearing any shoes, Duty Inspector Scott Bradbury said during a Sunday afternoon news conference. On Tuesday, Duty Inspector Peter Wallace of Toronto Police Service urged people in the area to check their backyards and sheds for any sign of the missing teen. Police previously said that they do not know exactly what Esther was doing at the time of her disappearance, adding that they are also unsure if she met up with someone. Investigators would not disclose if she has a prior history of going missing. Anyone with information, especially anyone who may have seen or spoken with Esther, is being asked to contact Toronto Police immediately at 416-808-2222 or Crime Stoppers anonymously. It was a busy Victoria Day for police services in Peel Region and Toronto as they responded to several incidents of fireworks being shot at people, including at Park of Brampton, where 13 people were arrested. Video circulating online also shows someone shooting fireworks from a vehicle as it drives through a plaza parking lot near King's Cross and Kensington Roads, prompting people to run away. Peel Police Media Relations Officer Constable Tyler Bell confirmed to reporters on Tuesday that they were aware of the video. He added that the incident is being investigated and those who were in the car will face charges once identified. Just because those people haven't been arrested yet doesn't mean that investigators are reviewing that content, Bell said. He believes that after the city closed the nearby Chinguacousy Park due to the large unsafe gatherings and similar incidents involving fireworks, crowds migrated to the surrounding areas, including the nearby parking lots. Brampton residents are banned from setting off fireworks, including on Victoria Day. Bell said over 2,000 people were at the park at some point, and officers responded to incidents of fireworks being set off at individuals and small grass fire caused by the fireworks. As a result, 13 people were arrested and removed from the park. Bell said all but one are adults between the ages of 18 and 26. He shared that the charges laid include trespassing under the Provincial Offences Act, as well as weapons, dangerous possession of weapons, and dangerous possession of explosives under the Criminal Code. 2 people who allegedly shot fireworks into a crowd of people during Toronto's Victoria Day celebrations are facing charges. In a statement to Awaz News, Toronto police said the 2 suspects are a male youth and male in his 20s. Neither has been identified. Videos from Ashbridges Bay submitted to Awaz News showed someone aiming that they appeared to be a lit Roman candle at crowds on the beach and boardwalk, as some people screamed and ran to get out of the way. Toronto police said 3 other individuals were arrested for theft and assault but released no additional details regarding those charges. The arrests were made on the same night at the Toronto hosted its annual Victoria Day fireworks display at the waterfront site. Toronto police have stepped up their presence during the event in recent years after chaos ensued in 2022 when 2 people were shot, 2 were robbed at gunpoint, 1 person was stabbed, and groups of people began shooting fireworks at each other. An Iraqi man accused of orchestrating 18 terror attacks in Europe in retaliation for the joint U.S.-Israel military operation in Iran has been connected to a shooting at the U.S. consulate in Toronto last March. The U.S. Department of Justice announced the arrest of Mohammed Bakr Saad Dawood al-Sadi last week. FBI Director Kash Patel described him as a high-value target responsible for mass global terrorism, who was a senior member of Kataib Hezbollah and Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps (IRGC), both of which have been designated by the U.S. government as foreign terrorist organization. According to a 29-page criminal complaint filed in federal court last Friday, al-Sadi told an FBI informant during a recorded phone call that our people were behind 2 attacks in Canada, including a shooting at the U.S. consulate on March 10. Police were called to the building on University Avenue at approximately 5:30 a.m. that morning after a white Honda CR-V containing two individuals pulled up the building and shot at it before driving off. Chief Superintendent Chris Leather, officer in charge of criminal operations for RCMP Ontario, said at the time that the shooting was being treated as a national security incident. No injuries were reported. The DOJ went on to say the second alleged terror attack on Canadian soil involved an unnamed synagogue. According to court filing, Al-Sadi and unnamed associates planned, coordinated, and claimed responsibility for a number of attacks in the name of Harkat, Ashab al-Yamin al-Islamiyah, and competent of Kataib Hezbollah since the military operation in Iran began on February 28. 10 days after the attack in Toronto, Al-Sadi allegedly told the FBI informant he was running multiple teams to carry out the attacks in Europe, but that he needed support in Canada or America. 2 weeks later, Al-Sadi was recorded speaking to an undercover law enforcement officer posing as a Mexican cartel member who said he had the capability of carrying out a terrorist attack in New York and elsewhere in the U.S. Al-Sadi then provided the officer with photos of the maps of Jewish centers he was targeting in New York, Los Angeles, and Scottsdale. Aris Al-Sadi was allegedly going to pay the officer US $10,000 to carry out the attack simultaneously, and April 6 texted him, "I want to see good news tonight, not tomorrow, bro." The 32-year-old was arrested in Turkey before he was turned over to the U.S. authorities. Through this lawyer, Al-Sadi called himself a political prisoner and a prisoner of war and said he's being prosecuted by U.S. authorities for his relationship with Qasem Soleimani, the Revolutionary Guard leader who was killed in a U.S. drone strike in Baghdad in 2020. Al-Sadi was not required to enter a plea. He will remain jailed but also request a bail. He's charged with conspiracy to provide material support to Kataib Hezbollah and Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. He's also charged with conspiring, providing material support for acts of terrorism and conspiring to bomb and place of public use, the latter of which carries a maximum penalty of life in prison. Thank you for watching Awaz News. I'm Kubrali. I'll be seeing you tomorrow again, same time, same channel. Thank you.